Masks are one of the features in Adobe Photoshop that I can't live without. They let you reveal or conceal different parts of a layer to create everything from a basic shape to some amazing special effects. The one thing you have to remember with a layer mask is black conceals and white reveals. But before I can explain this to you, I'll show you a quick demo. Let's say, for instance, this part of the image, I want to actually create a circle. There's not really a good way to do this. The crop tool would actually crop the entire canvas or document. So what I want to do is grab the elliptical marquee tool and draw out a selection on the image. When I get it the way I want it, I need to make sure I'm on the image layer and then click the layer mask icon at the bottom of the layers panel. That's going to create a circle image, but it didn't actually get rid of any of those pixels. They're just hiding. If we look at the picture of the layer mask or the icon for the layer mask to the right of the image, we can see that concept of black conceals, white reveals. Anywhere you see black on the layer mask, it's hiding those pixels. So all out here, those pixels are hidden. Anywhere you see white, they are revealed. They're not gone, they're not erased, they're not deleted, they're not altered in any way. They're still there, they're just being hidden or shown based on what color you see on the layer mask. If I hit Option or Alt and click on the layer mask, this gives you a bigger demo on the canvas. So when we look at this again, the black area is showing where the pixels are concealed and the white area is showing where the pixels are revealed. So if I hit Option or Alt and click on the layer mask again, this is going to give me a chance to see the actual preview. So let's see how this can work with some special effects. I can grab the hue and saturation layer and bring the saturation all the way down to turn my image into a black and white or grayscale version of the image. Every time you add an adjustment layer, it already creates a layer mask for you because it assumes you want to choose which parts of your image you want that adjustment to happen to. What I want to do now is I want to actually make it so that the mask that she's wearing is in color, but the rest of her is all in black and white. This is called a color splash effect. Now, one thing to note, even though we don't need it for this particular adjustment layer, is it's always going to start out white. If for some reason you want it to start out black and you want to paint white on it to reveal certain parts of the image with that adjustment layer, what you can do is click on the layer mask and do Command or Control I, and it's going to invert it. It's going to flip it from whatever color it is to its opposite. So we actually do want it to stay white for right now because the majority of this image is black and white. So we want to reveal that black and white adjustment layer. Or I'm sorry, the hue and saturation adjustment layer. So what we need to do now is grab our paintbrush because we want to paint in black because black is going to conceal this grayscale hue and saturation. It's going to conceal it from wherever we paint it. So I'm going to start painting and I probably need a bit bigger brush. And notice that it's bringing back all that color. I'm not necessarily painting that color. I'm actually painting black where I want it to hide that color, or I want it to hide the black and white, so to speak. So I can go all the way through this, and I'm not going to do a great job on this just because we don't have a lot of time in this tutorial video. But as I paint through here, if I make a mistake, as you can see I'm doing, if I come down here, let's say, and do this, all I need to do is now go back and paint white where I want to reveal the black and white. So I can flip using the X key or this little flip button over here. And wherever I paint white, it's going to bring back that hue and saturation adjustment. So I can go ahead and paint that in and get rid of some of this area and fix these areas up. And you're obviously going to want to take some time and do really well on this so it prints and looks really good. But once you've got it where you need it, if I do, again, Option or Alt on the layer mask and click on the layer mask, black is concealing that black and white hue and adjustment layer, or a hue and saturation adjustment. Sorry, I keep messing that up. And anywhere you see white is where you can see that desaturated part of the image. The other cool thing about this is now if I put a couple of hue and saturation adjustment layers on top of this, or any kind of adjustment layer, I can go ahead and do special effects, like maybe I want to change the color of her mask. So I can kind of change it to maybe a blue mask, and because I have the hue and saturation layer below it, and it already has a mask on it where I've done some alterations. It's only showing the new hue and saturation on the actual mask on the picture. So just be aware when you're working with masks, if you right click on a mask, you can disable that layer mask and see what it would look like without it. So notice without it, it's going to show that desaturated picture. If I right click, I can enable it. I can also delete a layer mask. And I can also hold Alt or Option and drag that layer mask onto a new one, whether it's already been painted or not. And it'll say, do you want to replace the layer mask? Hit yes. And then notice if I do that, it basically erased her mask. And obviously I painted that really, really horribly. But it's basically concealing that part of the image. So if I come here again and do Command or Control I, now it's going to flip it, and anywhere we see white, we see her mask, and anywhere we see black, it's concealing all the other pixels. So those are the basics of working with layer masks. Play around with them and see what you can do, but truly, it's one of the coolest things in Photoshop, and once you get the hang of it, you're going to use it all the time.